Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, the 21st of July. I'll let you tell you something. Today is an absolute scorcher. It's absolutely boiling. I just want to say thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you. When I say everyone, I mean literally everyone in this entire population of the world. Thank you all so much. Everyone tuning in, give me some encouragement, some support when I most need it. I want to say thank you to all. Get a pen and paper. It might be worth taking that some key elements to help you through straining life. I'm here to help. I'm not here to divide or discriminate a population. It's not I haven't got that in my nature to pull people down, to purify my excellence to compare to everyone else. I want to better everyone's well-being. I'm here to better everyone's well-being. Firstly, I want to say thank you to our NHS. Take some of these cognitive skills down now for the benefit of your own well-being, your own family's well-being. I want to thank all the national services, the police, NHS, fire brigade, Peabody, all the community support things that is out there. CAB, Citizens Advice Bureau. I want to thank Peabody. I want to thank there's another one as well. I spoke to them today. I can't remember the name, but I want to thank everyone, all the organisations out there that help people back to their mental well-being, their mental wealth. You want to get on an even playing field, don't you? Get back to normality. You want to get back to normality. What can these elements do for your life? All different elements of life have different segments of how they can tackle your circumstances. You've got Peabody, they work through the council. They can help you in many ways, like if you're struggling with finances, if you're struggling with food, all that kind of things to better your well-being, better your stability, your mental health and your well-being. All these organisations are absolutely amazing. Sure Trust can help you better your aspirations in life. Sure Trust is a very good thing. You're not happy with where you are. You're not happy with what your life. You want to reap what you sow, or sow what you reap. Well, first of all, you've got to change your circumstances, and talking to these organisations will help you in the right direction. You want to better your mental stability. You want to better your wisdom and your job position to support your family in need. We've got so many segments to get through today. We've got car incidents, car accidents, car tragedies, more on politics. We're back in Sir Keir Starmer today a little bit. I'm not a Sir Keir Starmer fan because of simple fact he's on the opposite side of the fence, but he's still an honourable gentleman. So I'll give the man the benefit of the doubt. He's still an honourable gentleman. You can't write him off. It's like you can't write a policeman doing his job not sufficiently. Some policemen can make the wrong mistake sometimes, but you can't actually point the blame at police officers. They don't do his duty. You have to understand their duty. They're here to serve and protect. That's all they do. And they do make some mistakes in life, but that's by the by. We just get on with it. We have to shrug our shoulders. We have to move forward, be positive. Think, yeah, it's because of so-and-so. But don't worry about it. Shrug your shoulders off. Everyone's there to forgive and to forget. Obviously, you can't forget your police, you can't forget your NHS, you can't forget your fire brigade. No one gets me down. No one in this world gets me down. Honestly, no one in this world. I love everyone. I love every single person in society. Every person in society has a meaning of life. Whether they try and bring me down because of their hatred against me or their jealousy, there's no one in life can bring me down in life. I've been brought down so hard in life that nothing else in life is going to affect me. And I'm intelligent enough to talk my way out of an argument. I'm intelligent enough to stand up on my 2 feet. I'm intelligent enough to, I've got the right support where needed. That's all that matters. I've got the government behind me. I've got the NHS behind me. I've got all the legal authorities behind me. I have got my second year of equity card because I'm protecting and serving our country as well. I'm known as part of the aristocracy social league. I'm part of the union. The union is the only people who trust that want to give back to the community, which I've always done. I've proven it and walked away with zero zilch. I'm still willing to give back to the community, which I've been doing for the last 3 years. Been working in food bank, support worker, night shelter, with people at the last jeopardy of their life, going to a homeless shelter to get a roof over their head from the rain and the snow and the storms. They're coming up to the end of their tether of their life. Some people take their lives because they've been through so much tragedy in life. And I've helped them. I've helped them support. It's helped me through with compassion of what I've been struggling with over the past decades. I mean, mental health, mind over matter, and matter over mind. I've been through the worst cases of life, you know, on and off since the age of 18, if I'm totally honest. I've turned every corner. I've jumped every hurdle. If I jumped it, I've got underneath it. There's no hurdle in life will get in my way. I won't be defeated. I will not be defeated. I'm a defeatist. I will not be defeated. I'm here to protect and serve my country. Now I want is a bit of acknowledgement, a bit of encouragement, a bit of support. I want to build my channel to be phenomenal. I'm outspoken, I'm well spoken, and I say the right politics in the right area as I'm a political analyst, political emphasizer. Anyway, moving on with the UK road incidents. We're going to give a shout out to a couple of sponsors on board that have helped me to where I am today. One of my sponsors helped me get my equipment to be such a phenomenal speaker and relax in a nice chair in front of my screen, which has a microphone built in, integrated into the monitor. It's got the whole modem built into the monitor. I've got no hard drive. The hard drive's in the monitor. I can pick that monitor up, stick it in my bedroom. I can pick that monitor up, sit in the front garden. I'm here to protect and serve, ladies and gents. I am the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Government. We are forced to be recognised because we're not going against anyone, we're supporting people. We will not have hatred. We'll have love and serve one another like a brother and sister. How we tuition throughout Christianity, how you tuition throughout Islam, how you tuition throughout being a Jew. Ethos is the word. Once you understand the word ethos, you have no troubles in life. Once you're free of Phyllis, you will have no failure in life, only success. Evil will always try and bring you down in life. It's how you go about it, that you better your aspirations in life. There's always people that don't want to see you do well in life. There's always people that want to bring you down in life. Ignorance is a virtue to those that are inconsiderate. Anyway, let's give a shout out to the sponsor. Sorry about that. 21st of July. Scorching weather. It's lovely weather. Cannot complain. If you want to change your wealth, your mental well-being, check out relaxuk.com. What things can you do to relax in life? What is therapeutic to your life? I do radio, I do artwork, I do reading, a lot of reading. What's therapeutic to your life to help you through your everyday struggle? Picking up a pint to forget, picking up a glass of vodka to forget the pain, because you're going to feel worse for about 3 days after. It's not the answer. You need to find an answer that doesn't evolve around sin. Relax UK Limited, health, travel and wellness products since 1997. UK relaxation shops selling various ranges of products from relaxation, travel, well-being, biofeedback, sleeping and natural products. Proclamation News and Government proudly sponsored by PSS Alarms. Get a pen ready. Free, ethical and pragmatics work carried out, all works covered, including Central station monitor provided. All work done according to insurance requirements. This is a friend of mine's company. He's carried out works in Harry Kane's stepmother's house in Hertfordshire upon Spa. He's carried out etiquette works in Essex, such as Casbah restaurant and many more big businesses. Installation, maintenance of intruder alarms, fire alarms, CCTV, all work guaranteed to certified to SSARB standard 24-hour call-out service. You can provide CCTV for pub, clubs, restaurants, or new big business setup. Secure your businesses. Mention Professor Johnson for an extra discount. Secure your home, secure your business. Your safety and priorities within your business are paramount. Think safety, think first. Secure your equity. Contact details as follows: 07908 216 142. It's Proclamation News and Garants, and that phone number is Tony Khan. He's very, very kind gentleman, professional installer of intruder alarms and fire alarms. Believe me, he would have been next door to Harry Kane's stepmother's house if not. Wish I was there to price up the job with him on my travels of getting me in my constituency where I am today to better my horizon, broaden my horizon, broaden my future, to support and serve. Also, I want to thank all the ministers that have supported me into where I am today. Will Quince being one of them. Will Quince is a big part of it. I want to thank also Grant Shapps, Transport Secretary, for giving me a bit of a, well, it wasn't actually him that gave me the idea, but he's in the job that gave me the idea, being Transport Secretary. Well, you need transport to get from A to B, which could be you driving or using a motorcycle or car. And I'll give out the roadmap, the incident, what happened today. Give you an idea of acknowledging, think before you put your foot down on the floor. Think your destination is going to be a roadblock. Have you got enough time to get to destination? Are you going to arrive safely? Is there roadworks in the way? So you need to make a detour to avoid congestion. So, you know, all these ministers I can only thank from the knowledge that I have. I've never put a minister down, even Sir Keir Starmer on the other side of the fence. I'm speaking about it today just for the sheer fact that there's no hatred between me and Sir Keir Starmer. As a professional colleague would not hate another. Going to be envious that they're in the position which I would like to be in eventually. Absolutely. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. That's how I believe. I've always lived by that saying. It's a true saying. I'm at the grand age of 37 now. People will be wondering, why don't you get involved in boxing anymore? Boxing was a hobby. Even when I done professional, it was never a jobby, it was a hobby. And I've done it as a philanthropist, I didn't earn a bean. Anyway, Braintree. A131, partially blocked, long delays, accident, queuing traffic. Travel time is partially blocked, long delays and queuing traffic due to accident on A131. High Garrett near the Hounds pub, affecting traffic heading in and out of Braintree. Travel time is over 25 minutes. This was first reported at 1 p.m. Boxing is probably one of the most worst tragedy things I've ever done in my life, fighting back my demons from a head injury. Why would I even think of doing that? Boxing is not the worst sport in the world. You've got motorbike racing, you've got horse riding, can't have a horse and break your neck. You've got Formula One racing, motorbike racing, all them, you know, even skateboarding. How dangerous is skateboarding? Some of the tricks they do on a skateboard, like Tony Hawk's. People don't, these youngsters don't realise that sport is very, very dangerous. It takes one little movement, you can end your life. A127, slow traffic, travel time is. Slow traffic on A127. Arterial road around Progress Road. Travel time is 10 minutes. 3 p.m, 21st of July. Would you like to watch your kid in a Ferrari car doing 150 miles per hour? I tell you what, my heart would be pounding. And my mum and dad sat there and watched me boxing, what I put them through in the boxing ring with a head injury. Lucky I'm out, can't tell in their life. It's being a parent, put yourself in parent's shoes. Don't put yourself in, a vindictive person that doesn't like your character for whatever reason. But not really realising they're actually a good community standard of a human being behind all the scruffness of the person's hatred. A1, slow traffic on the A1M northbound at A100, Welling bypass, near Welling Green, Garden City. This is reported at 4:15. Moving forward, ladies and gents. Moving forward. I hope you enjoy the show because I am, and I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. Brexit wants to withdraw the Northern Ireland Protocol, which we all thought about. They're going to start working on equalities, as I was reading in further reports for journalism yesterday. Start supporting the Irish community, the travellers and the gypsies, Ryman gypsies, Irish travellers. They're going to start supporting them with inequalities. I mean, I must admit, I did, they are hard to understand, but I've been hanging about them so long now, I understand them fully. And they do deserve the support to get the education. And I know some of them do struggle with lack of education, maybe because tutors. I mean, I can understand a Nigerian better than I can Irish, but now it's about the same. They're about the same. They come across, because they speak fast, it sounds like, I mean, to a psychology point of view, people might think it's a sign of psychosis. It's just the way they speak. It is really the way they speak. They speak fast. It's hard to like a bilingual challenge to try and understand, but you really have to be calm and collective and try to understand. And the teacher's probably not giving the time of day. And I see where they're coming from in the protocol that we had 2 days ago. I see exactly where they're coming from, why they feel left out of academics, why they feel left out of support, why they feel left out of being acknowledged, why they're doing the BLM but not support the Irish and the Gypsy and the Roman Gypsies. That's why they feel left out. And my heart and condolences go out to them, the families, because they want to see their children do well. I'm at that age now where I'm mature, I'm wisdom, and I see what they say. I see what they're reading into me. I see it in the community. I've been in all different kinds of sociological challenges my own. I've been brought up in suburban areas. I stayed in a city, and it's probably part of the posher part of a lower class area that I was in. Middle class. It was in the middle class area. But it's still, to me, that was like, while I was living in Clacton, when I was born, that was really bad suburbs in Clacton, that sort of area, but we was just on the edge of it. But it's no different to what up there. People getting stabbed to death. I see kids firing fireworks at a Muslim family for no reason, maybe because they're just Muslim. They went to fight rockets. I mean, 13-year-olds flying rockets at families with children. It's horrific, very, very dangerous. There's so many provocations caused in the world, and I chased the kids down with the guy. I felt so sorry for him. He had his children and his wife in the car. I was acting a bit too much as not a foot soldier, but to protect and serve. It's always the way I've been. I don't like our colleagues in town centres when you've got mothers, fathers walking about their children. It's not fair. You got heroin addicts, you got all the kind of walks of life sitting in town centre. Maybe the police should. I know they've got a lot to do. Again, they're not going to write them off. Maybe they need to put more foot patrol around the town centres. Get rid of these. We call them town rats. They're the town rats. That's why they get some pigeons in town, because the town rats are always there. UK has unveiled a new set of demands to withdraw the post-Brexit trading agreements it's agreed with the EU for Northern Ireland. The government said border checks on goods from Great Britain it signed up to in 2019 Brexit divorce deal had proved unsustainable. Brexit ministers Lord Frost said they risked harming businesses and were damaging the fabric of the UK. The EU said it would not agree to renegotiate the terms of the 2019 deal. The checks are included in Northern Ireland Protocol, a section of the Brexit deal designed to avoid checks on the Ireland's internal border. Lord Frost called on the EU to look on UK's proposal for fresh eyes, adding, "We cannot go on as we are." However, he announced the UK would not be triggering Article 16 of the protocol, which would allow it to suspend parts of the Brexit deal before talks with Brussels. He added that the government believed using it was justifiable, but said, "Nevertheless, we have concluded that it is not the right moment to do so." Lord Frost told the House of Lords there was a growing sense in Northern Ireland. "We have not found the right balance." Seen in an ongoing febrile political climate, protests and regrettable instances of occasional disorder, he also called on the EU to agree a standstill period to prevent a ban on selling chilled meat products, such as sausages from Great Britain, coming into force in September. When the full terms of the deals kick in, he later told reporters it was perfectly normal to change treaties in the light of experience, and this happens all the time. Remove customs checks on goods, where the GB registered businesses sending them have declared their final destination in Northern Ireland, getting rid of certificates and checks for food products only intended to be consumed in Northern Ireland. Remove medicines entirely from the scope of the protocol. Allow labelled food to conform into UK rules to circulate freely in Northern Ireland alongside EU registered products. The protocol was agreed to prevent the return of a hard border between the Irish public and Northern Ireland, as both UK and the EU want to prevent any return to the Troubles, which lasted 30 years and cost more than 3,500 lives. Under its term, Northern Ireland effectively remains part of the EU single market for goods, meaning it complies with the standards by Brussels. The biggest practical difficulty in trade terms concerns the movement of food from Britain and Northern Ireland, which could then be transported into the EU via the Irish land border. Prime Minister, former Chief Advisor Dominic Cummings has told BBC political editor Lauren Kuensberg that the protocol has been a fudge. Both sides had wanted to sign up to something that was not what either side really wanted, and which punted difficult questions into the future to figure out later, he's added. European Commission Vice President Markus Šefčovič said the EU willing to seek creative solutions within the framework of the protocols to ease border issues. But he added that the 27-member union would not agree to a negotiation of the Brexit deal. Respecting international legal obligation is of paramount importance, he added. DUP leader Sir Geoffrey Donaldson said, "We welcome the acceptance from the government that the protocol is not working, as it's causing real harm to our economy in Northern Ireland and is simply not sustainable." He called the UK government statement in a publication of a command paper describing it demands an important first step. However, Sean Fenn, Brexit spokesperson, Declan Kearney, called on the UK government to stop evasion and get on with implementing the deal it agreed. It's not acceptable for the Tories to adopt a la carte approach towards the protocol to rewrite history and now attempt a renegotiation, he added. The checks, how they work between Britain and Ireland, certain goods such as meat and eggs need to be checked when they enter Northern Ireland from Great Britain. They've got a border from over the water. Goods get dispatched, I'm going to say, possibly Southampton. Not just as surmising, as a hazard of guess, maybe a bit further up, I don't know. It looks like it's a bit further up. It's a bit further up than Wales, to be quite fair, I believe. It enters into Larne through Belfast. They get checked in Larne as they land in Ireland. Industry group Manufacturing Online said the UK's proposal would create confusion and uncertainty for business and were likely to create conflict with the EU. He called on the EU to go further to ensure the US market works for businesses and consumers in Northern Ireland. Both parties owe it to the people of Northern Ireland to skip the drama and get on with the dialogue and decision making. The body has added. For Labour, Brexit spokeswoman Baroness Chapman urged the government to fix the problems the Prime Minister created. Communities are tired of games and the political stalemate, she added. Do you know why they're getting their goods checked? Why are they getting their goods checked? To be on the safe side. Used to get some cheap soap bar. Cheap soap bar from Clacton. Clacton, you know, Clacton's it's got its pros and cons. It's a great seaside resort. Unfortunately, like any other place, there's always pros and cons of any place you go to. There's always evil and sin in any society. It's just at the right time, at the right place, it can be a beautiful place. It's like anywhere. Get there at the wrong moment, anything can happen. Could be terrorists in the centre, anything. Literally anything. It was a terrorist attack. What happened to me, pretty much. To be honest, I think, but I come out the other end, and it is behind me. But it's still trauma is trauma. It never leaves you. Trauma is trauma. It never leaves your soul. Once you've had that anxiety attack or been, physically abused, almost pulped to death. Experience, near-death experience. That's a trauma. You don't want to be back there under them lights, staring at the tunnel of heaven. That's how you feel between your last legs and your last limbs and your last fresh breath of fresh air. Their moments do spring back up, and when you get anxiety attacks in public, amongst people looking over your shoulder, looking like. Have you ever seen a Chihuahua, little dog? They suffer from anxiety. Their heads, the way they move, got a nervous twitch in their neck. Siamese cat as well, similar sort of thing. That's exactly the defects I've got. Constantly looking over my shoulder in a busy place. It's tough. As crazy I've been, I'm not as tough as what people think I am. All I do is maintain myself to make sure I'm always protected. I'm never ever a person to lay a finger or start trouble. But if I'm provoked, same as anyone, retaliate the consequences. Moving on, I've got so much love for the democracy, Sunderland, really have. I'm so lucky to be here, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to serve as I'm doing.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be joining the House in the 60th anniversary edition of Prime Minister's Question Time, which, as you have rightly just pointed out, was, of course, an innovation introduced under Harold Macmillan, and look forward to answering Connie's questions today. Mr. Speaker, before the House rises for summer recess tomorrow, I know that everyone will want to join me in thanking parliamentary and constituency staff and the dedicated House of Commons staff for hard work over the last year, and I hope very much that everyone has a restful break. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had virtual meetings, I should say, with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my virtual duties in this House, I shall have further such virtual meetings later today.
Sally Ann Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I echo the Prime Minister's thanks to all our staff for their hard work this last year. I very much welcome the government's levelling up agenda to ensure opportunity and economic freedoms are enjoyed by every person across our nations. Hastings and Rye is being held back, prevented from achieving its potential, largely or partly due to a lack of transport infrastructure. Will my right honourable friend promise to consider the business case for the HS1 extension from Ashford through to Hastings, Bexhill and Eastbourne and commit to the funding necessary?
My honourable friend is a fantastic advocate for the people of Hastings and Rye, and she's made the case to me before for the improvement to transport that she recommends. I know that the particular extension is being reviewed by the Department of Transport right now. A decision will be made in due course, and I'm told I simply cannot anticipate that. But what I can say is that this is the government and the party that is absolutely determined to level up across our country with better infrastructure, superb innovation, Mr. Speaker, and better skills across the whole of the UK.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I also thank you and all of the House of Commons staff for everything you've done to keep Parliament open and safe? Can I wish the Prime Minister that the Chequers won well in his isolation? With 500,000 people self-isolating, I think we're all a bit surprised that the Prime Minister, the Chancellor and the Cabinet Office Minister were all randomly chosen for a get out of isolation free card. But it's good that the Prime Minister finally recused himself, even if it took a public outcry for the Community Secretary to be humiliated on live TV and a trip to a country estate. Mr. Speaker, if someone is pinged by the NHS app, as millions will be over coming weeks, should they isolate? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, is the answer to that, and I think that everybody understands the inconvenience of being pinged, as he rightly says. Here I am. I wish I was with you in the Commons chamber today. I apologise to everybody in business up and down the land in all kinds of services, public sector or otherwise, who are experiencing inconvenience. We will be switching, as the House knows, to a system based on contact testing rather than contact isolation. But until then, Mr. Speaker, I just must remind everybody that isolation is a vital tool of our defence against the disease. You're 5 times more likely to catch it if you've been in contact with someone that gets it and someone that has it. And of course, even if you have been vaccinated, you can still pass it on, though that risk is reduced. And the overwhelming arguments, Mr. Speaker, are for getting a jab. Everybody should get a jab.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister says that everyone understands the government's position as to what you should do if you're pinged by the NHS app. That's a very interesting answer, because the government's all over the place on this. Yesterday, his business minister said the app was an advisory tool only. Another government minister, and I kid you not, said yesterday the app is just to allow you to make informed decisions. What on earth does that mean? Allow you to make informed decisions. And of course, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor spent the weekend trying to dodge isolation altogether. So, Mr. Speaker, the British people are trying to follow the rules. How can they, when his ministers keep making them up as they go along?
No, Mr. Speaker, if I may laboriously repeat the answer that I gave earlier on to the right honourable gentleman, so it's just to get it into his head yet again. Isolation is a very important part of our armoury against COVID. We're going forward, as everybody knows, to a new system on August the 16th, based on testing. But in the meantime, when you're advised to isolate, to protect others, and to protect your family against the spread of the disease, then you should do so. And of course, even more important than the isolation campaign is, of course, the vaccination campaign. 3 million people of the 18 to 30 group still to get one. I think the right honourable gentleman's time would be more usefully employed, if I may say so, encouraging everybody to get vaccinated.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, everything may be calm from the Prime Minister's country retreat, but back here, the truth is we're heading for a summer of chaos. There's a lot of noise, Mr. Speaker, right? I hope they've all got their NHS app on. Mr. Speaker, we're heading for a summer of chaos. 1 million children were out of school last week. 1 million. And a huge number of businesses are closing because so many staff are self-isolating. So let me turn to the question of exemptions. Yesterday, the messages coming out of Number 10 about which businesses and workers might be exempt from isolation changed hour by hour. First, yesterday there was going to be a list, and then there wasn't. And then the Prime Minister's spokesperson said this, and I quote, "We are not seeking to draw lines specifically around who is or who is not exempt." Now, I've read that, and I've reread it several times, Mr. Speaker. I haven't a clue what that means. The Road Haulage Association hit the nail on the head when they said this, and I quote, that it was thought up on the hoof without proper organisation or thought. Now, Mr. Speaker, I know the Prime Minister likes to govern by three-word slogans. I think, Mr. Speaker, on the hoof might work pretty well. So, last chance before recess, for millions of workers this matters.
Order. Mr. Gullis, I don't need any help or assistance from yourself. The next time you point to your watch, might be better looking at Big Ben outside rather than here. Come on, good stuff.
So, Mr. Speaker, last chance before recess, can the Prime Minister just clear it up which workers and which businesses will be exempt from isolating before the 16th of August?
Mr. Speaker, I think this is really pretty feeble stuff from the right honourable gentleman in this what's going to be a glorious 60th anniversary edition of PMQs. I've given him the answer in a letter that he had earlier on about the businesses and the sectors of industry that we think that it would be sensible now to exempt. But he can't have it both ways, Mr. Speaker. He attacks the self-isolation system. But as far as I understand the position of the right honourable gentleman when it comes to the roadmap, he actually now this week opposes going forward with step 4 as we have on as we did on Monday. He wants to keep this country, as far as I understand his position, in lockdown. And now which is it? He can't have it both ways. He can't simultaneously, Mr. Speaker, attack.
Sorry, Prime Minister. Prime Minister, just a moment. We're really struggling on the sound level. I don't know whether we can actually have the sound level turned up to hear the Prime Minister.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Prime Minister. Otherwise, you've got a great stand-in who's quite desperate. But I want to hear this, Prime Minister.
Do you want me to have another go, Mr. Speaker?
Did you know that in the UK, you can have huge debts, including credit cards, loans, overdrafts, and overdue bills?
Quickly pause it.
Hang on a minute. Is it?
So, yeah, Sir Keir Starmer was sort of attacking Boris Johnson. But Boris Johnson is obviously saying about the isolation. People that have not got their jabs should be self-isolated, shouldn't be going out into public. That's what Sir Keir Starmer was trying to argue with Boris Johnson. He's trying to say, well, that's not fair. Like over whatever million kids are off school in their summer holidays. They can't self-isolate the children and haven't had their vaccination yet. But a lot of parents don't have their vaccination for whatever reason. Some is for ill health. They're worried about becoming ill, or so you can understand the circumstances. But some that have just been incompetent, inappropriate, not having it for the sake of just having COVID, is, I think it's dismissible. Despicable. Absolute shocking. You vulnerable people out there don't deserve to catch COVID due to your incompetence. If the speaker says jump to me, I say how high. It's the biggest judiciary in the UK. Why would you want to break the law by not having it? If you're not going to vaccination, it shows how far you break the law. In reality, to me, that's the biggest judiciary in the UK, giving you the law. It's a lawmaking. You know, it's a lawmaking dictionary. It's a lawmaking jurisdiction. Biggest judiciary within the UK is Parliament. Yet people don't get vaccinated for the sake of vulnerable people, for the sake of others. It's horrific. Sir Keir Starmer you see his argument, but he's sort of contradicting himself. Because 1 minute he wants to come out of lockdown, everyone go back to reality. We all do. Everyone's been having uproar, going on mass surges of protesting, and things getting out of hand. You know, before long, they could be sending people in Parliament to cause trouble. Obviously, it's very, very secure by police and other innocent people that go and watch the committee. Business-minded people, i.e. myself and other people that like to go and see what's happening. How does the law evolve around one building? It's a great great atmosphere inside Parliament. If you've ever been to a committee meeting before, if you look back in history as the blueprint, which Pugin was the architect back in, I can't remember how many years, how many decades, but he was the one that done the blueprint. If you want to look into the history of it, look at the ancient things like an ancient Greek style building inside, or the interior. It's very, very phenomenal. Very Victorian inside, very, very Victorian, I'd say. But we're going to move on anyway, because Sir Keir Starmer has to isolate after his child is tested positive for COVID. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer is to self-isolate after one of his children tested positive for COVID, the spokesman has said. So, that's what I say. I don't hate Sir Keir Starmer. No one deserved their child to fall ill. On my heart, condolences go out to Mr. Starmer himself. He is an honourable gentleman. If you listen to the way he speaks, he sounds very, very etiquette, the way he speaks. He is etiquette. It's his job role. He's going to be etiquette, but he doesn't argue. I mean, if you're coming to there's a conflict situation, but see how cool they keep themselves when they're having a bit of a legislation amongst one another. You've got to throw a pen at each other's head, but if one of them beating you in an argument, it's when you got to understand to be cool, calm, collective, and fire an argument back with ammunition. But you got to be widespread across the jurisdiction, a political analyst at its finest, be a good philosopher. As Sir Keir Starmer pointed out, Boris Johnson is very, very good at putting out them three-liners. He's very quick-witty, and I'm quite quick-witty. When I get my mind into it, I'm very quick-witty as well. A statement from his office said one of his children tested positive at lunchtime. But Sir Keir was doing daily tests and tested negative this morning. Sir Keir was in the House of Commons for PMQs earlier. The PM and the Chancellor also self-isolated after contacting the Health Secretary who tested positive, Sajid Javid. A further 73 people have died within 28 days of positive tests in the UK, and another 44,104 cases have been recorded, according to the latest government figures. In a tweet, Sir Keir said it was responsibility to isolate with his family. This is the fourth time Labour leader has had to self-isolate since the pandemic began. Boris Johnson self-isolated as well. The BBC is not responsible for the content of external sites. House of Commons, Sir Keir described as summer chaos and amid soaring numbers of people self-isolating at home. Labour leader dubbed Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who is himself self-isolating at his country house in Buckinghamshire, the Chequers one, as he mocked Mr. Johnson's isolation in the same week that most remaining curbs were lifted in England. Speaking in Commons, Sir Keir said everything may be calm from the Prime Minister's country retreat, but back here, the truth, we're heading for summer of chaos. Appearing virtually at PMQs, Mr. Johnson urged people to stick with self-isolation rules ahead of changes next month because it's a vital tool in our defence, he added, I apologise to everybody in business up and down the land in all kinds of services, public sector or otherwise, who are experiencing inconvenience. More than 500,000 alerts telling people to self-isolate were sent by the NHS COVID-19 app in England and Wales in the first week of July, with supermarkets saying they may have to cut open hours for shops due to the lack of staff. Businesses have warned of increasing staff shortages caused by people being forced to self-isolate by the NHS COVID app. Iceland and Greenkin said on Monday they had to shut shops and pubs and a restaurant as a result. Business lobby group, the CBI, has warned that the problem could hamper the economic recovery. The government has said it is crucial for the people to quarantine after being pinged by the NHS COVID-19 app. One more, we're going to do another segment, have a short break, and we're going to finish off the last two. Thank you everyone for coming through. I really appreciate it. We're also on YouTube under the same name, Proclamation News and Gatherings. Essex crime, man faults school fence and punches pupil during a foot match. Essex police are now appealing for witnesses. This is horrific, isn't it? A man jumped a fence and punched a pupil in the face. I thought, mate, what on earth? A man in his 30s reportedly hopped the school gate and punched a 17-year-old boy in the side of the head while he was watching a football match. The alleged assault happened around 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 12th, when the victim was in a group watching a school match at Plume Abbey, Fanbridge Road, Malden. I got punched in the face when I was 13 by a 40-something-year-old. Nothing happened. And you see the report like this. I had a report in the paper, but it wasn't really, I didn't get nothing from it. Essex police are now appealing for witnesses after the alleged assault. It was reported that the man was walking past, jumped over the school gate and punched a 17-year-old to the side of the head. He is described as his age in his 30s, 5'9" or 10 inches tall, with slick brown hair. He was wearing a grey jumper and blue jeans and was last seen heading towards Checkers Lane. He was also in company of another man who was around 20 years old and were walking a dog. Anyone with any information who witnessed the assault or can identify the man described is asked to contact Essex Police or quoting 101 crime reference 42/88-18781/21. You can submit a report online at Essex Police or use a live chat button to speak to an operator between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. or alternatively information you can give anonymously to Crime Stoppers on 800 555 111. It's important if you know the whereabouts or even possibly vaguely seen a distance who it was. In Malden, Essex, constituency of Malden, Essex. Make sure you come forward. Support, of course, absolutely.
I will quite well. People have decided to be quite rowdy, but I can hear you now. Continue halfway.
Can you hear me, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear, Prime Minister.
Do you want me to give that answer again?
Oh, don't worry. Just complete the end bit.
I'm very happy. I will repeat it. I'll say it as many times as you like. I think the right honourable gentleman leader of the opposition is guilty of failing to listen to what I said just now. And it's perfectly obvious that, as I said to him in a letter earlier on, that there are some businesses, some parts of our economy that, of course, need exemptions from the isolation regime because they need to be able to carry on. And for the most part, obviously, people will have to follow the rules. We're changing it on August the 16th, by which time we will have vaccinated many more people. I understand people's frustrations, but this is one of the few real tools that we have in our armoury against the virus. And I really think that in attacking the isolation system, which is what I think the right honourable gentleman is doing, he is being totally inconsistent with his earlier announcement, which seemed to be that we should stay in lockdown. If I understand the position of the Labour Party now, which is different from last week, they now don't want to go ahead with step 4. I think I'm right in that.
Good stuff. It talks about inconsistency. 2 hours and 38 minutes to do a massive U-turn on Sunday morning. And then what have we seen in the last few days? He says I didn't listen to his answer. I did listen. I still think he's making it up. We had completely unclear announcement on Monday about exemptions, and contradictory statements all day yesterday. Now we seem to be back to the confused policy of Monday. How on earth the business is meant to plan when the Prime Minister keeps chopping and changing like this? I have to say, even after 15 months of these exchanges, I can't believe that the Prime Minister doesn't see the irony of him spending Freedom Day locked in isolation and announcing plans for a vaccine ID card. I remember when he used to say he'd eat an ID card if he ever had to produce one, and now he's introducing them. So, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to creating confusion, the Prime Minister is a super spreader. So let me try to get some clarity. Why is it okay? Why is it okay to go to a nightclub for the next 6 weeks without proof of a vaccine or a test, and then from September it will only be okay to get into a nightclub if you've got a vaccine ID card?
Hey, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think the Labour leader traditionally has a choice in a national crisis, and that is whether to get behind the government and to offer constructive opposition, or to try endlessly to oppose for the sake of it and try to score cheap political points. Everybody can see that we have to wait until the end of September, by which time it's only fair to the younger generation, when they will all have been offered 2 jabs, before we consider something like asking people to be double jabbed before they go into a nightclub. That's blindingly obvious to everybody. It's common sense. And I think most people in this country understand it. Most people in this country want to see the younger generation encouraged to get vaccinations. That is what, with great respect to the right honourable gentleman, he should be doing, rather than trying endlessly to score what I think are vacuous political points.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister keeps asking me if I will support his chaos. No! And I want to bring the Prime Minister back to one of our earlier exchanges in this House. On the 26th of May, I asked the Prime Minister if he'd ever used the words, "COVID is only killing 80-year-olds," or words to that effect. On that day, the Prime Minister pointedly didn't deny using those words. And now we have the proof that he did. We've all now seen the Prime Minister's text message. I quote, "The median age for COVID fatalities is 82. That is above life expectancy." And we have the Prime Minister's conclusion in the same text. "So get COVID and live longer." Remind the Prime Minister, over 83,000 people aged 80 or over lost their lives to this virus. Everyone leaving behind a grieving family and loved ones. So will the Prime Minister now apologise for using those words?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, nothing I can say from this dispatch box, or this virtual dispatch box, I should say, or nothing I can do can make up for the loss and the suffering that people have endured throughout this pandemic. And there will, of course, be a public inquiry into what has happened. But I would just remind the right honourable gentleman, when he goes back over the decision-making processes that we had in those very, very difficult and dark times, that these are incredibly tough balancing decisions that you have to take. Again, you have to balance the catastrophe of the disease against the suffering that is caused by lockdowns, the impacts on mental health, the loss of life chances for young people, Mr. Speaker. And what has changed since we were thinking in those ways is, of course, that we have rolled out vaccines faster than any other country in Europe. 96%, Mr. Speaker, of people over 50 now have had a vaccine. 68% of people have had 2 jabs, Mr. Speaker. What we're trying to say to the country today, and I think the single most important serious message is, if you have not yet had if you're over 50 and you still haven't had your second jab, or over 40, please come and get it as well. And never forget, Mr. Speaker, that if we followed the advice of the right honourable gentleman, we would have stayed in the European Medicines Agency, and we would never have had the vaccine rollout at all.
Starmer.
I think we might need to check that the line to checkers is working, because the Prime Minister's answers have no resemblance to the questions I'm actually asking him. He's given us a list of what he can't do.
Right, I'm just going to move on from that PMQ for a bit. See what's going on. More crime in Essex. Parked cars damaged and destroyed in Rainham as police chase ended in a crash. It's understood that 4 cars belonging to nearby residents were crashed into. Hoping no one was hurt. Innocent people. The person driving could have been innocent, could have been inflicted under alcoholism by bullies. You know, going through certain circumstances of life. We don't know. We can't start pointing fingers. A police chase ended up on London and Essex border last night, July 19th, Monday, when a motorist on the run from police crashed into several parked cars. Then police officers attempted to stop the vehicle around 11:20 close to New Road in Rainham, Greater London. The motorist failed to stop for the police and crashed into a series of stationary cars and vans, leaving great damage behind. Paramedics rushed the driver, a man in his 40s, to hospital, where his injuries aren't thought to be life-threatening or life-changing. He has since been arrested by officers. One resident on the road has told Essex Live that 4 vehicles have been damaged in the accident, with 3 considering write-offs. Paramedics and the fire brigade attended the incident, which shut the road for hours. Regarding the chase, a Met Police spokesperson said at approximately 11:20 on Monday, 19th July, officers attempted to stop a vehicle in the vicinity of the New Round in Rainham, Avon. The vehicle failed to stop and was involved in a collision with other stationary cars. London Ambulance Service and London Fire Brigade were called and attended. The driver of the car, a male in his 40s, sustained suspected head and leg injuries. He was taken to East London Hospital and his injuries were assessed as neither life-threatening or life-changing. He was arrested for driving offences and taken into custody. Glad he's safe, and I hope he wakes up realising the absolute inhumane, incompetent person that he was, and changes his life around and gets better help and support. Back out in reality. It's going to take a while to mend and realise of this such tragedy that he could have caused lives. That he needs to be fixed and supported in the right direction. Inquiries continue. A Directorate of Professional Standards has been informed as a routine regarding the incident. A London Fire Brigade spokesperson said firefighters attended the scene of the road traffic collision involving 5 cars. None was trapped, but 1 person received medical treatment. The brigade was called at 30 minutes past 11 p.m. and the incident was over the fire crews 11:49 p.m. London Ambulance Service was also approached for comment. When really he could have got done for arson. You know, his cause of incident caused his car to catch fire, possibly causing fire to many more vehicles in the way. There's been 5 Tory MPs which have breached the code of conduct. 5 Conservative MPs breached the code of conduct over an attempt to influence legal proceedings, a standards committee has found. Teresa Villiers, Natalie Implique and Sir Roger Gower, Adam Holloway and Bob Stewart wrote letters regarding ex-MP Charlie Epic, who is convicted of sex offences. Letters on Commons notepaper were addressed to senior judges. 3 of MPs could be suspended from Parliament for one day. Miss Villiers, Miss Elfique and Sir Roger face suspension, while Mr Holloway and Cole Stewart have been told to apologise by the Common Standards Committee. All five wrote to senior members of the judiciary raising concerns that a more junior judge was considered publishing character references provided to Mr Elfique. Mr Elfique was jailed for 2 years in September 2020 after being convicted of 3 counts of assault against 2 women. The committee said MP letters announced to attempt improper to influence judicial proceedings. It said that such egregious behaviour is corrosive to the rule of law and, if allowed to continue unchecked, could undermine public trust in the independence of judges. And it found that MP behaviour had caused significant damage to the reputation and integrity of the House of Commons. The committee said that 3 MPs recommended for suspension, 2 had substantial legal experience, while the 3rd, Sir Roger, is both the longest standing of the group and still does not accept his mistake. Labour leader of the Commons, Fangan Debonair, said the incident showed the Conservatives think it's one rule for them and another for everyone else, she said. She said that this behaviour is corrosive and does nothing but undermine trust in Parliament, and it must not be allowed to continue. It's a very, it's a rigorous attitude to have in Parliament to go, complete vulgarism in your professionality, any job, any situation, any crisis you face in life. Why would you go against it and mistreat humanity? Why would you? I don't give anyone vulgarism. I open a window where people can come at me with vulgarism. If I comprehend back, they put the infliction on me in the first place. So you always make a comprehensible solution, but not within your business. It's horses for courses. Always remember, horses for courses. The business itself is the biggest jurisdiction in the UK. If you do anything inhumane in there, you're going to be sanctioned. Your seat's going to be zapped, gone. Job's going to be lost. If that's your professionality, you've got to take it and stay professional in that business. Simple as that. If the speaker says jump, you say how high. Or just a number in a pecking order, working our way up. A voice wants to be heard, an opinion wants to be supported. Then you've got to act professional within that job, within that criteria. Absolutely. Anyway, ladies and gents, thank you ever so much for tuning in. That was another phenomenal show. Probably one of the best I've had. I woke up in a bit of a funny old, strange old place. Yesterday was a really bad day. This morning I woke up in a bit of a bad place. Made amends and got some positive news at the end of the outcome. So not every day, like I say, work with time and forbearance. Not every day is a bad day unless you make it. Think of PMA, positive mental attitude. Nothing can break you. Only if you work hard, something will make you. Keep working hard at it and you'll soon get there. Thank you. God bless. One love and speak soon. Proclamation news and gatherings.